When Jim Gordon ends up discovering the dark and twisted secret behind the network, will it spell the beginning of the end for him? Well, let's hop into the pages of Joker issue number 9 and find out together, shall we? So then, as the comic opens up, we check back on in with Jim Gordon and his most unlikely ally in the form of Vengeance, the clone daughter of Bane. Vengeance, you may or may not recall, was genetically engineered to end the life of the Joker. The only problem is that she didn't want to kill someone that she barely knew. That's why she's decided to ask for Jim's help. After all, who has more reason to want to end the clown prince than him? In fact, it's during the ride to their next location, Jim decides to get Vengeance all amped up by regaling her with the story of Killing Joke, Batman, Cataclysm, and many more sad but true tales of when the Joker hurt Jim Gordon more than just about anyone else. Gordon officially knows that he's beyond the point of no return now, yet all the same, he still thinks about his daughter Barbara and whether or not he should call her and get her up to speed on everything that's about to happen, but in his heart of hearts, he doesn't want to get her involved. Speaking of Barbara, we actually get to check back on in with her in Gotham City. It seems that her and Julia Pennyworth have actually managed to find some very important bombshell information regarding the military junta that's taken control of Santa Prisca. It would seem that most of these guys were actually directly involved with the creation of the Peñadora prison and by extension Bane himself, yet somehow, someway they managed to completely rebrand themselves and continue their evil deeds long after their original run-ins with Batman. In fact, the trail of corruption goes even further. It seems that these guys still have lots of friends within American intelligence, and even a couple politicians in their pocket too that have allowed them to sell some military-grade weapons, like one particular missile that you may remember from the Death in the Family storyline. Everyone remembers that story because it was the one that killed Jason Todd, but what a lot of people don't remember is that the inciting incident was also Joker getting his hands on a missile. What this really means is that a lot of seemingly unrelated things within the greater Batman canon were actually very related, and the only person who saw this grand conspiracy was the mad mind of the Joker. Now back over with Gordon and Vengeance, they finally managed to reach their destination, a very creepy manor house belonging to Dr. Bond, the scientist behind all those cloned organs from a couple issues back. They don't even step through the front door before they start tripping over a bunch of bodies. It's made abundantly clear that the Joker has already beaten them there and is ready to have himself a little talk with the not-so-good doctor himself. Vengeance, despite her amazing strength, ultimately proves to be not much help because, yeah, you guessed it, the same doctor that was cloning organs also helped clone her and as such has a trigger phrase to shut her down for a few minutes. The only reason Joker hasn't killed Bomb already is because he wanted everyone together in one room, the renegade cop, the serial killer clown, and the mad scientist. Now, Gordon is no dummy. As we've seen all throughout this series, he's a pretty good detective, and he feels confident connecting a bunch of dots. This Dr. Bomb guy is clearly part of the network, that clandestine organization that helps disappear crime bosses and occasionally supervillains for a high price. Oh, but the truth is actually much deeper and much darker than Gordon could ever imagine. Joker makes Bomb give them all a little tour of his cloning facilities. You see, one of the reasons the network is so damn good in helping people disappear is that Bomb can clone perfect genetic copies of them, while also offering highly advanced plastic surgery as well. Basically, he can help you become a whole new person. Doing things this way made him ridiculously rich, but as is often the case, him and his allies in the network started wanting more for themselves. You see, as Bomb further goes on to explain, some of the richest and most evil people he worked with also just so happened to have a taste for human meat, and because he could clone it, he made another small fortune offering that. This also gave him quite a bit of political muscle and protection. He knows full well if he was ever to be arrested, he would either be let go right away or killed to keep some very powerful people's very dark secrets. Now, this is all deeply unsettling and horrifying, but it also finally explains what the Joker's been on about from the very beginning, the trip through the heart of darkness that he wanted Gordon to take. That Gordon's own antiquated idea of justice is meaningless in a world when so many of the most rich, powerful, and influential people are literally flesh-eating monsters in secret. Oh, but wait, there's more. You see, Vengeance was actually just the tip of a much bigger iceberg too. The network's newest course of action is trying to create a line of designer supervillains. Ones who, like Vengeance, will answer to them and them alone via conditioning. They wanted to try and clone the Joker. The only problem is the same chemicals that bleached his skin and affected affected his genes, have turned out to be so corrosive and so unmalleable they just haven't been able to make another Joker. But it's certainly not going to stop them from unleashing a whole new generation of supervillains onto Gotham City to fight the Batman for fun and profit. Now this is one hell of a sticky situation Gordon has gotten himself into right now. Luckily he doesn't have to fight his way out of it on his own, as it's at that very moment members of the cannibalistic Sampson family make the scene. You see, the Sampsons have been a member of the network for years, but they feel that they shouldn't have to subsist on clone meat alone when they much prefer hunting it themselves. They also still heavily blame the Joker for the death of one of their kin in Arkham Asylum, and they refuse to let the network resituate him. It's because of that bomb is killed, the Joker is drugged and kidnapped, and poor Gordon ends up getting a blade in the gut for all of his trouble. Also, remember how I said before he and Vengeance were an unlikely duo? Well, when she sees that Gordon is dying, she actively decides not to help and leaves. Ooh, that's cold-blooded. But hey, at least things finally can't get much worse for Jim Gordon, right? Only, you see, they can. Remember that mysterious Talon assassin that tried to kill Barbara Gordon a couple issues back? It's pretty clear that the Court of Owls is tied up in this network business as well, but their reasoning seems to be a lot more personal. You see, Barbara ran some DNA from that Talon only to discover that the man under the mask is James Gordon Jr., her brother and Jim's son. And so that was Joker issue number 9, everybody, and I'm happy to say it looks like this series is going to be kicking very hard to the finish line. In fact, this late in the game, I'm not afraid to say that this might actually be James Tynion's very best Batman story, and Batman isn't even in it. It's just so damn cool to see Jim and all these other characters who don't really get the spotlight get to take center stage and show why they're so cool and interesting and complex. I love that this is really a story about having a sense of morality and trying to do good in a world that is dark, twisted, and oftentimes very, very insane. More than anything, though, I think I really applaud this issue for giving us such an interesting juxtaposition of evil, be it the Joker's very chaotic, unhinged, random evil, and the network's very meticulously constructed evil. Overall, I'd give this one a very positive 9 out of 10. This one just continues to surprise me every time.
Hey everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time, everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.